This knowledge clip outlines the key characteristics and their internationalization specifics of digitally born globals, sometimes also called born digitals. Traditional theories of internationalization posit that firms go through stages as they gradually progress from a domestic focus towards becoming more and more international. However, an alternative view suggests that some firms can internationalize almost immediately after their inception. Firms that follow such an extremely accelerated path to internationalization and pursue a global strategy from the outset are called born globals. Since the 1990s, rapid internationalization of the newly established firms has become more frequent, and born globals have increased in both scale and scope. They have also begun to play a more important role in the global economy. International business literature uses different names to describe the phenomenon of enterprises that internationalize rapidly soon after their inception. You may have come across terms such as born globals, early internationalizers, international new ventures, and global startups. With technological developments that have acted as drivers of accelerated internationalization, high technology startups, digitally born globals, digital startups, or born digitals have emerged as a special category of born globals. In this knowledge clip, you will learn about this group of born globals, that is, the digitally born globals, their main characteristics, and how they internationalize with the support of technology. Let's start with two basic features of digital firms. First, digital firms build and use digital infrastructure. Some of them are more digitized than others, but they all build an identifiable online presence, so-called space, which means that they use the online space for some or all of their business operations, processes, and activities. However, they can still have a physical presence, so-called place. For example, they may need space for offices or storage. Nevertheless, their use of physical space is often moderate. The second main characteristic of digital firms is that they rely on digital infrastructure for communication and collaboration. Digital infrastructure, such as internet platforms, can be used for product or service development, procurement, financing, marketing, logistics, and other business functions. In other words, digital firms follow a digital business model. Digitally born globals are enterprises that base their operating models and capabilities on exploiting Internet-era information and digital technologies. This facilitates their rapid internationalization. As a result, these firms earn the prevailing share of revenues in foreign markets. Such firms rely on the Internet and digitalization of their key business functions and processes and link these to their internationalization objectives. They use Internet platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Kickstarter, YouTube, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and so on, digital solution firms such as PayPal, and e-commerce firms like Amazon to promote, distribute, and sell their products or services. Technological developments are crucial for these firms' internationalization. Compared to firms following the traditional internationalization process, digitally born companies learn, create knowledge, and build network relationships faster with the support of technology. This is because technological developments have enabled businesses to directly engage with their stakeholders, facilitated marketing automation, and generated network effects. Having a digital business model also means that born digitals are very flexible and their activities are scalable. These effects will be explained in more detail in the remainder of the knowledge clip. The first advantage of technological developments is that they enable the firms to directly engage with their stakeholders, not only domestically but also internationally. This is because they provide immediate access to both the proximate and more distant stakeholders, which in turn creates opportunities for developing and nurturing favorable relationships with different stakeholder groups, even if remotely. Combined with digitalized data collection on these stakeholders' needs and preferences, such engagement with stakeholders also facilitates a more targeted and differentiated approach to each stakeholder group. Digitalization in particular enables access to many different stakeholders within a firm's ecosystem. Firms' business relationships can include end users, venture capital providers, local content or service producers, and other firms offering complementary assets. Direct, frequent, and intensive engagement with end users and other partners through social media furthermore promotes fast experimental learning and has huge potential for testing and co-creation of products or services. It can also act as a substitute for the traditional intermediaries in foreign markets. The second advantage of technological development is that digitally born globals can capitalize on easier trust building, opportunity recognition, knowledge creation, and relationship development. Digitally born globals can benefit from productivity and efficiency gains that are facilitated by automation and digitalization of parts of the firm's business functions such as sales, marketing, and logistics. Complex transactions and relationship building across borders, which have traditionally been part of face-to-face interactions, can now be automated as computer-to-user interactions. This lowers the transaction and communication costs related to business operations. In addition, detailed automated customer feedback systems enable market analysis before, during, and after the launch of a product or service. In other words, they facilitate knowledge creation and opportunity recognition in real time. Detailed, wide, and up-to-date data collection conducted through these systems also facilitates timely data-based adjustments of firms' marketing strategies for different target groups and markets. Finally, the Internet offers many automated and internationally well-established trust mechanisms, such as online certifications, reputation ratings, and payment verifications. These can substitute the need for personalized trust building and accelerate the process of target stakeholders establishing trust in the firm. Networks are strategic resources. Digital firms can expand and nurture their networks through the use of technology. Such capacity to quickly create and coordinate a network of stakeholders brings value and is thus the third benefit of technological developments that digitally born globals can capitalize on. A network effect or network externality is the marginal effect that an additional user of a platform has on the existing users on the same side of the market or on the respective other side of the market. Literature identifies both the direct and indirect network effects experienced by digitally born globals. The former refer to the network-related outcomes that stem from the firm's interactions within their own networks. Direct network effects provide benefits for network users based on the increased capacity for interaction with other users as the network grows. For example, LinkedIn relies on pre-existing social and business relationships to encourage adoption and user network growth. The indirect network effects, on the other hand, include outcomes of networking that stem from the mutual dependence of different networks. Digital platforms provide a network that links producers and users, like Amazon, or complementary services where intermediaries, like Airbnb, can intervene and extract value from the customer-supplier relationship. Positive direct network effects facilitated by digitalization include, for example, access to a larger user base that can generate more transactions and engagements with different stakeholders and consequently create greater value for both the firm and its stakeholders. For example, through co-creation of products and services. Take, for example, Kickstarter. increasing the number of funders is also advantageous for other funders because Kickstarter follows the all-or-nothing funding model. Only projects that reach a predefined funding threshold are deemed successful and receive the collected funds. With every additional funder, the likelihood increases that a specific project becomes successful on Kickstarter, suggesting that positive direct network effects might exist on the demand side of the crowdfunding market. Indirect network effects, on the other hand, stem from connecting and coordinating networks of diverse users on the digital platform. Availability of users and advertisers on Pinterest, or the users and content producers on streaming platforms such as YouTube, for example, provide a networked marketplace and value from the engagement. Returning to the example of Kickstarter, positive indirect network effects stem from the fact that the success and growth of Kickstarter's ecosystem strongly depend on the supply of compelling projects that attract a sufficiently high number of interested funders. The platform therefore becomes more valuable for entrepreneurs as the number of active funders on the platform rises. Technological developments can have another positive effect on the internationalization of digitally born globals. That is, they afford these firms the flexibility in terms of how they configure and coordinate their international activities. Beyond technological flexibility, born digitals invest less in the physical infrastructure. They can thus also reduce their relational commitments in international markets. This in turn results in higher organizational flexibility. There are a number of dimensions to flexibility in digitally born globals. Young firms normally have a learning advantage of newness and are inherently agile and responsive. In other words, they are not stuck in their old ways and are willing to try new approaches. Given their digital nature of business processes and footloose infrastructure, they can also more flexibly attract critical talent, which reduces their reliance on a specific location. Finally, digitally born global firms are readily scalable. This means that they are able to build and leverage economies of scale in core business processes quickly. This in turn facilitates their early and rapid international growth. Scaling is present in multiple aspects of doing business, including customer identification, customer engagement, and value chain linkages. Since user engagement is underpinned by digital processes, relationships built online are direct and of a significant size and scope. Physical distance becomes less relevant as digital tools enable immediate access to remote stakeholders and markets. The wide market and user reach offered by digitalization thereby also facilitates immediate and broad feedback on different stakeholders' aims, needs, and preferences relevant for the firm's realization of internationalization strategy. Quick access to insights from multiple stakeholders across multiple markets allows for more efficient differentiation of marketing strategies aimed at various stakeholder groups, fosters responsiveness, and facilitates stakeholder-centered yet cost-effective adaptations of the firm's offerings. Scalability also accelerates experimental learning and relationship building, both of which have been presented as time-consuming in the traditional sequential internationalization models. Collaboration with large platforms like Amazon and the use of multiple market entry modes like strategic alliances, joint ventures, or subsidiaries further add to scalability. These 5 aspects, direct engagement with stakeholders, marketing automation, network effects, flexibility, and scalability, differentiate the internationalization process of digitally born globals from that of other firms. They enable fast learning, testing, and co-creating new ideas with users, business partners, and other stakeholders, as well as a higher speed and intensity of internationalization.